types of flow. There are generally two types of flows of fluids. One of them is steady flow and the other is turbulent flow. So let us discuss first about steady flow. In steady flow, if consider a liquid passing through a glass tube. Suppose this is the glass tube here. This is the glass tube and through which a liquid is passing. Now concentrate on three particular points in the tube. One is suppose this point A, the other is here at point B, and the third point is here at C. So look at these three particular points, right? So if the velocity of the fluid particles at any point inside this pipe, inside this glass tube, does not vary with time, the flow is said to be a steady flow. That means the velocity, let us say the velocity at point A, suppose here in this direction, in this direction, in this direction, and in this at this point V, the velocity is in this direction, and let us say in this is in this direction. So if VA becomes constant, if VA becomes constant, that is velocity of the fluid at point A becomes constant, that is independent of time, velocity of B becomes constant and velocity of C becomes constant, and it is true for any point you choose inside the volume. If that happens, then this flow is called steady flow. This does not mean that the velocity at different points are equal. The velocity at different point might be these three constant, this constant, this constant, this constant. They might be different constant. If they are equal by chance, that is a mere coincidence. But the focus is that you have to focus on the fact that the velocity at point A will always be the fluid particle passing through A will be having the velocity VA always. The fluid particle while passing B, it will have velocity VB always. The velocity of the fluid particles, any particle crossing C point will be having velocity VC, right? So this is called a steady flow. This is also called streamline flow or laminar flow. And one more thing, you should remember that whenever a liquid or fluid flows in a streamline flow, each particle of the liquid will be passing a point, moves along the same path. That means any particle will follow its predecessor, will be following its predecessor when the flow is in streamline flow or in laminar flow, right? The next part is turbulent flow. What happens in turbulent flow? That these things are different. The path taken by the particle of any particle will not be followed by the particle which is coming later. That means the velocity at each point will be different from, that is V. Suppose this is point A, the particle, suppose particle 1 is crossing through this point, its velocity in this direction, suppose V1, and the next particle which is crossing this will be having this velocity in this direction. So at this particular point A, suppose when the first particle, for the first particle VA vector is V1 vector, and the next moment when the second particle is crossing that, VA is equal to V2 vector. So VA is not constant. So that is why this kind of flow is called turbulent flow, right? And this steady flow or turbulent flow you can see whenever the river is in the hilly region, whenever suppose you go to Manali, suppose, and if you see some waterfall, then you shall see that this kind of turbulent flow in that waterfall, right? The water falling from a height, then all the fluid particles are going in different directions, and if you focus on a particular point, you will see that at each and every moment the fluid particles crossing through that point will be having different velocities, right? So let's meet in the next video discussing about Reynolds number. Thank you.